I think we would like to turn that page, as you said, and take a leadership role in pointing to the future of what can we do as a group, you know, and it's not easy, and I'm not saying there's not going to be competition. There's going to be a lot of competition, and it should be good and healthy competition.
Hey guys, Johnny Disc Golf here at the 2019 MVP Open, and I am joined by the new tour director of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, Mr. Jeff Spring. How are you?
Good. How are you, Corey?
I am doing great. It is the final round. The lead card just teed off behind us. I guess the gallery's gone now, but it is going to be an excellent day out here at Maple Hill. Let me ask you, what has it been like? What's the vibe like as the tour director here at a Pro Tour event this year?
Well, this event, it's been a great vibe. I've been really thrilled to be down here for the weekend. Great crowd, great spectators, great play. This is one of the best venues in the sport. Yeah. So I've been really happy to see how it's unfolding here. And, you know, you never know who's going to win at MVP. Yep. So, you know, it's been great to see the action unfold.
Absolutely. And let's just get straight to it, Jeff. You are the new tour director for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. How did just explain, how did that come about? Because it's been Steve's gig this whole time. How did that come about?
Well, it was a few weeks, to say the least, in process. But the bones of it are that the tour was looking to be recapitalized for the 2020 season, and those plans came into place. A minority investor, Todd Rainwater, became interested in helping to recapitalize the tour. And so discussions started. Behind the scenes, they were going on, like I said, for a few weeks. And then when agreement was found, all the paperwork was drawn up and the asset was sold. And so, you know, we've started a new company that's running the brand, and the brand is strong as ever. We're excited as ever for 2020, and we're excited to make this transition nice and smooth. It's great that we're here at MVP because Steve, who's been the owner and the tour director, is really helping to ensure that transition, you know, goes well. And on top of that, I would say, you know, we're honored to continue to work with Steve and try to put, you know, the focus on what he's accomplished so far. So.
Well, you had been employed by the Pro Tour as a interim, at least, PR person over the last, I believe, like last off season. That's right. Why you? You know, you've obviously been involved in disc golf. It makes sense from that perspective. But how did it come to Jeff Spring as a tour director?
Okay, so I guess I'll start with the off-season question. Sure. So I've been an advisor of the Pro Tour since its inception, really. Nate Heinold and I, in 2015, we're at the USDGC, and we had been in talks with Steve to have the Ledgestone and the GMC come on board. And since that time, we helped kind of push it forward and really, you know, encourage Steve to make it happen. And since that time, I'd been involved as an advisor at the 2016 Tour Championship at the GMC. There was a bit of a to-do, I guess. And then I became the Pro Tour liaison to the PDGA, and I did that for about a year and a half, through the transition from Brian Graham and Rebecca Duffy into the current leadership of Justin Menichelli and Joe Chargaloff. And it's been great working with everybody involved with the PDGA. But once Joe came in, you know, he'd established a great relationship directly with Steve. And so I was able to then step back and not serve that role and just kind of go to a normal advisory role since I had an event on the tour. Then we had the off season of last year, which saw some significant changes in media planning. When those changes started getting some challenging PR from a number of sources, social media and whatnot, you know, I had a conversation with Steve, and he asked me to come on to try to help smooth that over. The main role that I was doing was trying to get negotiations back up and running with some of the media teams. I was able to do that, and when that deal was not accepted by the DGPT, I stepped back into my advisor role. So at that point in time, you know, the tour moved forward and experienced a lot of challenges based on the media to start the season. Yes. And so sorry for being long-winded, but now the answer to your question is that after those challenges came to fruition, the discussion of recapitalizing the tour became more immediate. because of the struggles. There were some struggles, and then it said, okay, how are we going to keep this brand alive? And then back to the first question, that's connecting the dots.
Perfect. No, and as speaking for somebody that is part of the media that was a bit different this year, I do appreciate the effort that you have put in to kind of just reconnect those dots and make all well. What can we see from the fans' perspective next year? Are we going back towards like the 2017 style of media? Are we maybe somewhere in the middle? Where are we at with that?
Well, we're absolutely moving forward to a better media landscape. I mean, some of what's worked in the past will be employed, but really we're looking forward. We have a vision of a brighter future, and we have so many great media assets in the sport that we want to utilize them to their full potential. We want to collaborate with them. We want to help them grow. We want them to help us grow, because it all works kind of symbiotically, in my estimation, and that's what I think. That's the vision. So we aren't going to be creating our own media. We will be partnering ideally with a live team, and it's looking promising for us to continue our relationship with Smashbox. But we're not committing to anything because we really want to put out an RFP. We want to assess what's needed, and then put that stuff out there. Smashbox has been integral to the growth of the Pro Tour, and to the live coverage growth as well. So I think that we would love to have that live coverage under our banner, but we also want to create space for other media companies such as yourself and such as Central Coast, Gatekeeper, Jomez, all those teams that are out there putting in hard work for the sport to grow, and so we're going to create a platform that allows that to happen across the board.
I love it. It's just great words. I appreciate it. In the press release that you guys released, kind of announcing this whole sale and everything, it mentioned specifically a goal of working more cooperatively with the PDGA in 2020. It was a little vague, admittedly, what that exactly means. Yeah. Could you maybe further explain that?
Well, I would say that the communication between the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the Professional Disc Golf Association is critical. Yes. And we would just like to continue growing that relationship. I don't think it means anything specifically, and I don't really necessarily have anything specific to share, other than I have a great relationship with the PDGA. I've been a state coordinator for, I think, 7 or 8 years. As I said, I served as a liaison between the tour and the PDGA, and I've hosted 2 PDGA majors, the Pro Open Worlds last year, Masters Worlds this year. So I feel very comfortable working with those guys. They're great people, from Joe to Mike Downs to Andrew Sweeten to Sean Sinclair, Todd Lyon, Mary Sicard. All those guys are great. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing what we can do when we're growing the sport together. Sure. Right? And so that's just the general idea behind that statement, and I think that we'll see a lot of great specifics grow out of it. So
yeah, not to get into specifics, because I know that we're kind of early on in this whole launching thing, but one of the bigger headlines over the maybe the past 2 months, as far as the players are concerned, is that Pro Tour Championship this year. Yeah. It was announced a little while back that it was going to be Emporia, played on the Jones Gold layout. A lot of the fans, they might not have heard the grumblings, but in the community, we heard grumblings of, is it going to be there? Are people actually going to go? Do you have any updates at all for us on that front?
Yeah, I'm happy to share some of the news that we were just able to release, and it has to do with that change in venue. And so when we started the first day, I think, after the ownership change was finalized, Jeremy Rusko and Dynamic Discs and Todd Rainwater and I all communicated about this. And the biggest thing that we wanted to do is honor the players. And so in doing so, we wanted to do due diligence, and we were able to reach out and communicate with the players because, as you said, there were some grumblings that we heard as well. The date was announced to be October 17th through 20th in the fall of 2018. That was changed on July 24th, 2019. When Steve and the former ownership of the Pro Tour announced the change to Emporia. Now, I think that sounded great in theory. However, the date change being 2 weeks later caused conflict with player schedules. So when we realized about a third of the players were not going to be able to make it and a third were very challenged to, we decided it was only proper to make this change. And So we are going to go back to the original dates. It's going to be October 17th through 20th. And we're going to work to potentially see if that's going to be a 3-day, the 18th through 20th, because we want to make this convenient and easy for the players. We understand that there's some turbulence on this one, and we want to make it a win for everyone. So we are going to be partnering with the Charlotte Disc Golf Club, and we're very excited to be working with them. They're one of the best clubs in the sport and one of the meccas of the sport, Charlotte. There's over 100 courses. There's over 600 active members of the Charlotte Disc Golf Club, and we're anticipating a great spectator turnout. We are going to be going to Hornets Nest, and it's the spot where Paul Macbeth won his first World Championship. They also hosted Am Worlds last year, 2018, so they have a list of accomplishments. And, we really couldn't do this without an on-the-ground team that was really ready to execute a high-level event, and that's what Charlotte Disc Golf Club is. So I just, we then, vetted this out with all the players, and I'm happy to announce we're going to have at least 40 of the 47 qualified players in the Pro Tour Championship. And so that really makes it the Pro Tour Championship, I think, when we have all of those players committed to coming. On top of that, we're very excited to have a wide berth of support from manufacturers, as there's going to be 3-4 premier sponsors. It's not just going to be carried by one. And, we wanted to do that because we wanted to honor all of their support through the years. Like the first 3-4 years here have been, supported by a lot of those manufacturers like DD, I just want to give a big shout out to Jeremy Rusko and DD for being flexible in this, coming back on board for it, and being a premier sponsor, as well as Prodigy, who has hosted it the last 2 years, and they're also a premier sponsor. And so bringing in the other supporters like MVP and Discraft and Innova, and having everybody be involved at least on some level, was important to us. And I think it shows our vision of the future, which is really rooted in collaboration, all pulling together to raise a sport and elevate it to the next level.
No, I love it. It really feels like a turning a page or starting a new chapter when you get all of these manufacturers who, let's be honest, over the past year, 2 years, it's been very territorial when it comes to those sponsorships. Yeah. Was that intentional from your side to maybe get everyone at the table?
It was intentional. And, territorial, I think it's business. It's sure. Rightfully so. When a company invests in a product like an event or a presenting sponsorship, they absolutely 100% need to realize the value of their dollar, and it should be profitable for them, just like it should be profitable for the tour and us. And the real message here is that if we all work together, we can achieve those goals. But you're right. If it gets to a point where everybody's kind of trying to figure out how to get that same buck instead of growing those dollars in the sport together, it does get hard. And I think we would like to turn that page, as you said, and take a leadership role in pointing to the future of what can we do as a group, and it's not easy, and I'm not saying there's not going to be competition. There's going to be a lot of competition, and it should be good and healthy competition. I agree. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. There's no promises. It's going to be built brick by brick, I think. So. Sure.
Well, hey, that's great. Smugs. Mm-hmm. You've worked at Smugs full-time, as well as TDing all these events over the past few years. Right. The tour director position, though, does seem like it would require a little bit more time than maybe just a TD of 1, 2, 3 events throughout the year. Are you going to be balancing both? Are you turning to the tour director full-time? Where are you at with that?
I am. I'm going to be full-time tour directing. So I'm full-time, and that is my only primary and solitary focus. And I'm all in. I feel like this is what I should be doing, and I feel prepared for the experience. And it's a bit serendipitous. I didn't feel like I went searching for this, but it came knocking at the door, and I think it took a lot of reflection, and it was a hard decision because I love Smuggler's Notch Resort. I'm extremely thankful for the opportunity that resort provided me. It's one of the best resorts in the world, not just for disc golf, but for skiing and snowboarding and family activities. And to leave the role there was challenging. I will be involved in some oversight of the courses, as just a very part-time consultant. And that's going to be mostly in the off season when I'm doing planning work, because I will still remain in Vermont for the time being, and my home base will be there. So when I'm not on the road, I'll be in Vermont and be able to, you know, offer my services there for future planning, development of the course, and also to help run the GMC. And I anticipate, at least for the first year, being the TD of note on the GMC, but I'm obviously going to lean on the great team that we've developed there. You know, I've got the pro shop manager, Nick Hover, and he's going to be stepping up, and our crew led by Greg Fatigate. And so they're great. They're going to be there, and they're going to continue on. So in terms of my role, yeah, it's going to be main focus on the DGPT.
No, and that's exactly what we need. You know, as a community, as a scene, you know, we need that full buy-in. Let me ask you, the ownership group prior, you said there's a completely new ownership group. What happened to the minority owners? Like, are they kept in the loop? I'm thinking of, you know, guys that I know personally. I don't necessarily want to throw out the names, but what happens to them? Are they still included in this new process, or is it kind of clean slate, new people?
Yeah, no, we want to keep everybody who is involved, and you know, at least to some level. I think that it's a balance of, you know, honoring everything that people put in, and then turning the page. And you know, we do have you know, full reign to take this in whatever direction, you know, we'd like to. But you know, there's so much that works well, and so much that Steve and, you know, the folks that have supported him have put into place that we want to retain. Sure. You know, and that's why, you know, it was so imperative that we really wanted to continue that brand. And yeah, looking forward to working with everybody.
That's great, man. You know, we got a lead card going on behind us, so I don't want to keep you here too long. We got to catch up. It's good action. But I want to give you a chance to address the fans, address anyone, you know, maybe that has been a detractor before or is a future fan. Anybody out there, you know, what do you have to say to anybody?
Yeah, well, so we're looking forward. We're excited for the future of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and we believe that, as you've seen in this interview, that through collaboration and really harnessing all of the different styles, elements, personalities, and lifestyles of the Pro Tour, we're going to be able to work together to take steps forward. And it's not going to be one big leap. It's going to be one small step, but hopefully over the course of many years, we can build a really, truly consistent and strong brand that's going to slowly break through into new levels, and you know, we're looking forward to doing it together. So you know, stay tuned. We'll have announcements throughout the off season, and we're always looking for feedback. So feel free to reach out and connect, and we really want to hear from you, and for you to, of course, watch some disc golf.
Perfect. Hey, thank you so much, Jeff. Truly, I do appreciate your time, and I look forward to really the end of this year, but huge into next year. I feel like we're going to be working a lot together, so let's get this thing done.
Well, thank you, Corey, and thanks for all that you do for the sport. Really appreciate this channel, and you stepping out and taking a risk yourself. So, you know, everybody loves it, and it gives insight into fans that they wouldn't get otherwise from players. So
truly, I really do appreciate that. It's been a fun year, and it's going to be a fun life, man. I'm excited about it, and that's all I have for this interview, guys. But if you'd like coverage of all things disc golf, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out that interview. If you'd like to support me, check out patreon.com/JohnnyDiscGolf. And if you'd like to follow along, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for updates on all your favorite players all season long.